Hi everyone, Peter Young, author of The Blue Team. If you have 2 minutes, I've got another book review for you. This time, Steve Kerr, A Life, a biography written by Scott Howard Cooper, which just came out last year in 2021. And I know in one of my recent reviews, I said I'm not a big fan of biographies. Well, after reading this one, I'm still not a fan of biographies. But I do find Steve Kerr fascinating, his ultra-liberal political leanings notwithstanding. I've followed his career ever since he played college ball at Arizona, and of course onto the NBA as a player and coach. And he actually owns a home north of San Diego near my uncle, the same development where my uncle lives. So the two of them used to play a lot of tennis together. So when I was trying to resurrect my TV broadcasting career a few years ago, my uncle put me in touch with Steve Kerr, and we actually talked on the phone a few times. So Steve is very gracious, is very kind, easy to get along with, just like what you see on TV. But simply, I just don't like biographies or the format as much as other works of nonfiction. You know, part of what makes Steve Kerr so fascinating is the people that he has interacted with. Lute Olson, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, Steph Curry, etc. And in the hands of a writer like David Halberstam, who did Breaks of the Game, the reader would get a healthy dose of the background on all of these characters, layer after layer. But in a biography, the writer will often stick a little stubbornly to the main character, and that's what Howard Cooper does with Steve Kerr. So there's a lot of missed opportunities. And I can't help but wonder, with Kerr being such an interesting guy, what this book would look like in the hands of a master like David Halberstam. For instance, Steph Curry, who plays for Kerr for the Warriors, is a Hall of Famer. He's a generational talent. He has in many ways changed the NBA and the way the game is played. Yet after reading this book, I know nothing more about Steph Curry and his relationship with Steve Kerr than I did before reading this book. So a huge missed opportunity. And there are times too when the book just simply falls flat. It's poorly written at times, uses awkward prose, so it's hard to read. And it's also odd that Kerr did not grant Howard Cooper, the author, special access. So he and the Warriors were just not on board with it. They didn't try and prevent the book, but they didn't let him onto the team bus or the team plane or, into the locker room where other reporters didn't have access. And so there are pages, which is odd, where the author goes over the top in his praise of Kerr, as if he's trying to get Kerr to like him. And it's sycophantic and almost embarrassing. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be liked, but again, I think this affects the writing. So if you are a fan of Steve Kerr in the NBA, I would say read it, but I think you're going to be disappointed. It's not nearly as good as I was hoping it would be. So there you go. That's my take on Steve Kerr, A Life. If you've liked this review, give it a like, give it a share, keep your comments coming. And as always, until next time, keep reading.